Hi, dear friends. Some words of Torah for Parshat Mishpatim. We are all reeling from the news about Shiri Bibas, whose whereabouts are still unknown, and her two beautiful red-headed boys, Ariel and Kfir Zichronam Livracha. Hashem Yikom Damam, may God avenge their blood. My mind pulls me back to the newsreel of Munich, 1972, when the sports newscaster Jim McKay, reporting on the Munich massacre perpetrated against the Israeli athletes, said, "Our worst fears have been realized. They're all gone." We are in that moment right now. The Bibas children were our icon of hope and conviction. They're all gone. We extend our heartfelt condolences to the Silberman and Bibas families, and especially to Shiri's husband and the boy's father, Yardain, who himself was released only days ago from captivity by those evil monsters of Hamas. His pain must be unfathomable. We dedicate this Devar Torah to the memory of Ariel and Kfir. The Torah groups three commandments together and says that if a person commits any one of these three sins, he has done something so horrible and so criminal that he no longer deserves to live. For each, the Torah says, mot yumat, a double language of being put to death. According to some commentaries, this means that not only must he be put to death, but he will also experience a form of death and suffering in the next world, the spiritual realm. So what are these three commandments? Number one, he who strikes his father or mother shall surely die. Number two, he who kidnaps and then either sells or imposes hard labor on his victim shall surely die. And number three, he who curses his father or mother shall surely die. Now, one of these things is not like the other. Why did the Torah separate two mitzvot which pertain to mistreating a parent by either striking or cursing them, and insert between them the prohibition of kidnapping, which has nothing to do with parents? The Medrash states, why is the crime of kidnapping so terrible? Because usually a person is kidnapped as a child and then never gets to know his parents. He may run into them on the street one day and, not realizing that they're his parents, he will strike or curse them. Well, who caused this person to treat his parents so terribly? The kidnapper. And that is why his crime is sandwiched in between the crimes against parents. I believe there's more here than the Midrash is letting on. Let's look in a moment at the person who abuses his parents. Today, unfortunately, many young adults heap scorn and hatred upon their parents for not having raised them better. The mental health community has made a cottage industry out of blaming parents for each of our failings and shortcomings. Invariably, the person who points the scornful finger at his parents is unhappy with his own life. Only people who find themselves miserable will seek to cast the blame for their misery on someone else. My parent is the person who gave birth to me, and if I'm not happy that I was born, I can always blame my parent for bringing my miserable self into this miserable world. By extension, when a person hates his parents, he looks with contempt not only at his own life, but at all people's lives. Such people tend to be cynical and nihilistic about the human condition in general, and fail to see not only their own value but others as well. This is what drives a person to ruin and exploit another person's life, since he fails to see the humanity and preciousness of that other person. People who hate and devalue themselves hate and devalue others. People who love and esteem themselves love and esteem others. This is why kidnapping is connected to abusing a parent. One who hates parents hates himself and others too. The Medrash is also teaching that forcibly separating a child from his parents will cause damage to both parents and children. Rabbeinu Bechaya suggests that this is why, back in Parshat Vayeshev, the brothers' sin of selling Yosef into slavery was so egregious, and why it is a perennial sin for which we atone to this very day. By selling him, they caused great pain to their father Yaakov. Yaakov suffered more pain than any slap or curse that a child could heap upon a parent. They also deprived poor Yosef of a loving and compassionate home and the proper parenting that he still needed in order to develop and grow. Like the poor boorish child in the Midrash, Yosef was deprived of the additional refinement and tutelage that he stood to gain by remaining in his father's house. This is why the sin of kidnapping is in between the laws that relate to how children must respectfully interact with their parents. The truly evil people of Gaza, who revel in death and destruction, who place so little value in human life, who treat their own children like cannon fodder, These are the people who kidnapped Shiri and her children, Ariel and Kfir. They have forfeited their lives, both in this world and in the next, contrary to what their warped religious clerics promise them for the afterlife. In our state of grief and anger, we must remember that we are not like our enemy. The entirety of Parshat Mishpatim is all about how to treat our fellow human being with compassion. We learn about how we must not oppress the widow or the stranger, how we must respect others and their property, and how our overall morality and ethics are grounded in compassion and respect for the other. We do not seek the wholesale destruction of innocent women and children, even when they seek our destruction. We cherish life. We don't blame our parents for our failures, and we love and take pride in who we are as the Jewish people. The people of Gaza are truly pitiful in their death cult thinking, and they are trapped in a culture that offers them no way of bettering themselves. We must do what we can to create as much distance between them and the people of Israel, so that not a single ember of their poison remains in our region. I hope that as a result of this macabre scene that unfolded on Thursday, we will get even more support for the Trump administration's plan of deporting Gazans to somewhere else in the world where they can create a constructive future for themselves so that both they and we can be freed of this caustic ideology. May Hashem wipe the tears off of all faces, dear friends. We need a redemption. May we see it very, very soon. Here's wishing you a Shabbat Shalom, good Shabbos, and let us all be comforted.